Hello, and welcome to Every Day is Funny, the meditative morning show about newspaper comics. And doing a podcast, doing a morning show, it's all well and good. But there's a lot of competition out there. And I don't get any perks. I'm losing money on this whole endeavor. So I was thinking, especially on a Sunday, maybe I should start pivoting because, we got a nice community here of Every Day is Funny people, but it's just a podcast community. What if I made Every Day is Funny a certified religion? The Church of EDIF. Especially because you get some tax exemptions and there's a lot of perks that podcasts just don't get. And I might be taken more seriously. It's the Church of Newspaper Comics. And so I've been thinking about this. We would pray to Talia, the Greek goddess for comedy and idyllic poetry. And I was thinking that every day this week to see if I can pivot this into a religion. Every day this week I'm going to come up with a new commandment for the Church of EDIF. Is this sacrilegious? Sure, but you know what? Shut up. Anyway, for my first commandment for the Church of EDIF, collection at an EDIF mass is $10 minimum. I'm tired of this any little bit helps bowl. If I don't see a Hamilton at minimum in that basket, you can keep it. I don't want it. All right? So that's the first commandment of EDIF, the Church of EDIF. I also, for this week of celebrating this new religion that I am bringing forth into the world. And by the way, we're praying to Talia, but I am the vessel. I am the leader that, you can bow to because you won't be able to see Talia, but I can talk to her. So you can just send every well wish and tribute through me, and I'll make sure she gets it. But I also wanted to open every episode with a daily prayer. And it's a take on the classic Our Father prayer. And so if you'd all bow your heads and close your eyes for a moment and join me before we get to the Sunday comics in this little prayer. Comic strips who are in papers, funny be thy frames. Thy kingdom come, Ix. Jokes will be done on web as they are in print. Give us this day some mellow laughs, and forgive us our guffaws, as we forgive those who have never heard of Rex Morgan MD. And lead us not into full-blown meditation apps, but just this weird in-between niche thing. Amen. All right, let's get to the comics. Sunday, big day for comics. The full-blowners. That's what I'm calling them now, I guess. All right, let's open with Merryworth, because I do want to see how this budding romance is beginning between Mary and Jeff. Last we checked in, they were walking along a dock, and they were definitely feeling romantically interested in one another. But they were still talking about Wilbur and his dead goldfish at sea and the funeral. And I was thinking that they needed something novel to talk about at this point because that's all the focus has been. And so hopefully they're able to conjure up some conversation and not have what could be a very fruitful relationship open in just an immediate bust. Let's see what's happening. Okay. We start with a quote by someone named Jim Valvano. I love just like a random man quote. We'll have to look up who this is, but it says, "My father gave me the greatest gift anyone could give another person. He believed in me." Wow, fucking beautiful. Anyway, we see a thought bubble. How I enjoy working from home. We see Wilbur. He thinks at all hours of the day or night. Then headline as the shadows in the door. As Wilbur works at home, he's surprised by a familiar voice. Dad? Dawn? Dawn, what are you doing home? I thought you were going to stay with your mother through the summer. Dawn says, I thought so too. Things didn't work out with her. She lost interest in me and changed her mind about having me over. Our attempts to connect fell through. She asked me to leave. Wilbur says, oh, Dawn, I'm so sorry. Let's get you something to eat and you can tell me all about it. What? Okay, a lot going on here. First off, Jim Valvano is a basketball player and coach and broadcaster. Kind of a weird choice for Mary Worth, but we'll go along with it because it fits the premise. Now, I'm a little confused why Dawn didn't just give him a heads up that she was on her way. I get for the purposes of drama, and you see the silhouette in the doorway in the comic. I get why it helps, but in reality, one parent already just kind of threw you out. Maybe you want to check with the other to make sure it's cool if you swing by. I'm sure Wilbur's cooler. I'm just saying, why wouldn't you just reach out? Except for the purposes of storytelling. So whatever. Why did her mom lose interest in her? What was she trying to do that wasn't working? Couldn't they just sit in a room in silence at the very least? I mean, I thought the mother would know what she was getting into if she was going to have her there for the entire summer. I'm surprised that went any other way than they were expecting it to go. She lost interest in her own daughter. Dawn might just be really boring. She asked me to leave. How does that go? Because we're never going to see that scene. Where you're hanging out with your daughter and you just see the thought bubble of the mother's head I am really getting bored with her. And then next panel just I think I'd like it if you left. I gotta be honest. I am not a fan of my own child. But that's nice of Wilbur to take her in like that. I also noticed that there is a goldfish in the bottom right panel. Now, has he already gotten a new goldfish after Stellan passed away and the funeral happened? Or was there always a second goldfish that never got the same love and attention? Because when Stellan died, it's not like we ever saw him be well, at least I also have this guy. No, we never saw that. So maybe he just got another one real quick. Or his relationship with this second goldfish is a lot like the relationship between Dawn and her mother. He loses interest quite easily. All right, let's move on to a new comic, the featured comic on Comics Kingdom. It's called Tina's Groove by Rena Piccolo, and it's about a waitress named Tina and her ups and downs in the restaurant industry. All right, we see a headline, Tina Speaks. Then we see Tina staring to camera. The world went from books to blogs to tweets. And then we see a lot of people on the street on their phones, texting things. One woman's texting, walking down the street. Another's in a car, texting, just parked my car. This is really funny. Then there's a mugging happening. One guy is texting someone else saying, getting mugged. The mugger is texting someone saying, doing some mugging. That's funny, man. You wouldn't see that in any of the other comic strips we read. That's a little too, not risque, but just legitimately funny, maybe. And then it says, what's next? And then Tina's talking to a woman. The woman says, Twitter is so 10 seconds ago. Everybody's on Squander now. Tina says, Squander? The woman says, it's like Twitter, only it's not what are you doing, it's what are you not getting done. Tina says, Squander. What did the world do without it? Okay, so kind of a nihilistic technological take in Tina's Groove, which I kind of tend to agree with, so I enjoy it. Plus, just getting mugged, doing some mugging is maybe one of the funniest jokes we've read on this. This is episode 70. and I think that might be in the top 3. Squander would be an interesting app. And I kind of like that, actually. That's kind of not a bad idea. It really puts aside the fake personal achievements that everybody flaunts and gets to the heart of what they need to do. I kind of like the idea of Squander. All right, let's get to Rex Morgan. Yesterday, we were seeing a pretty violent moment as the bully was returning home to his dad, but his dad was on the phone with the principal getting furious that his son had skipped school after punching someone. And he aggressively threw and broke an alcohol bottle. And it seemed like we were settling in for some pretty dark times in the Rex Morgan universe. But today it looks like we are back in the hospital for the momentous moment where 2 plot lines are finally intersecting. We had Parker, who had just been punched and sent to the hospital by said bully, about to be treated by the titular Rex Morgan. And it looks like we're back at that storyline and setting. We see Corey's dad talking to Parker's aunt. He says, "Rex Morgan's a friend of ours, Judy. Parker couldn't be in better hands." Aunt Judy says, "That's a relief to hear. I'm so worried about that kid." Then headline, Rex reports on Parker's condition. Rex is back, people. He says, "There's no question Parker has a concussion." Oh. Oh boy. "We'd like to keep them overnight for observation to make sure that's the extent of it." And Judy says, "Oh." Corey says, "Will Parker be all right?" Rex says, "There may be complications, but with rest and time, we trust Parker will recover." And Judy says, "I guess I should be glad it's not worse, but why did this have to happen to Parker in the first place?" Rex says, "I've never really understood why some kids bully others, and it seems LGBTQ kids are often targeted far too often." And then Aunt Judy says, "I've been worried about that in Parker's case, but most of their classmates have been accepting and kind. If more kids were like Corey here, this sort of thing would never happen." Huh. Well, okay, I'm very happy to have Rex Morgan in the fold, giving an update on Parker's condition, treating them. It's interesting that Rex Morgan takes a stance on LGBTQ. It's weird that he's taking this stance while they're just talking about their condition. What's also very strange is if you look at the bottom right panel, Aunt Judy, Corey, and his dad are kind of like staring at the camera. It doesn't really look like they're talking to Rex Morgan. It kind of just looks like a PSA. Or Aunt Judy's just going like, "Be more like Corey. A loser, but a kind loser." And why is Aunt Judy asking Rex Morgan why it had to happen in the first place? He wasn't there. He's doing his best. All right, let me think of what to comment. I'm going to play off Aunt Judy saying, "If more people were like Corey, this wouldn't have happened." And comment Corey saying, "That's kind of you to say, Aunt Judy, but I'm far from immune to the pressures of making fun of Parker. All of this is going in my tight 5 for open mic night." Which, if you haven't heard, there was a plotline introduced about Corey going to an open mic night, and they've completely abandoned it to instead focus on Parker in this bully situation. But I wanted to bring it back up. Send. All right. Time to wind down for this Sunday, July 7th. I hope you have a wonderful end to your weekend. And remember, every day is funny.